The Bill Haisten podcast can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on TulsaWorld.com. It can be viewed on TulsaWorld.com as well. And today I'm joined by father and son, Brian Montonati, the head man at Owasso. How many seasons, Brian?
6th season as head coach and 12th season overall.
Wow. Okay. So Brian is the head basketball coach at Owasso. His son, his 15-year-old son, is Jalen Montonati, ninth grader, who a year ago at this time was finished with his season after being undefeated as an eighth grader. Him and his eighth grade teammates undefeated. And all right, Jalen. So when you played it that eighth grade season, did you have like half of your brain plugged into that eighth grade season, and the other half was like, I cannot wait to get up to the varsity and run with those guys?
Yeah, I would always, after our practice, I'd come over there, watch those guys practice. I was just, kind of waiting my turn to get with them.
So it feels like to me that the turning point for the Rams, maybe I'm burying the lead here. Owasso defeated previously unbeaten Broken Arrow over the weekend to secure a berth in the Class 6A state tournament, which is interesting in that through 9 games, Brian, you guys were 3-6, and you had a heck of a terrible holiday season with regard to illness. And pretty, if I remember right, you said literally every guy on your squad had some sort of situation over the Christmas break, right? Including Jalen. So you're 3-6, and then you go to Pittsburgh, Kansas, and you win that tournament, and you beat a really good Kansas City area big school team in the championship game, and Jalen scores 37 that night. Do you feel like that was absolutely a turning point game for your guys, or were you just kind of destined to kind of turn it around anyway at some point when you got your guys healthy, and that just happened to be at that weekend?
I think it started for us probably at the end of November. We lost Gabe Patterson. He basically changed our team at the end of the season, but we lost him kind of like in a fluke deal. He was just standing there walking off the court and end up hurting his knee. So we got him evaluated, and Gabe ended up having bilateral meniscus repair surgery on both of his knees. So that's kind of when it started for us. We were a little shorthanded going into the season, and we figured we'd be without him for a month or month and a half, and then the season started, and we lost to Jinx in overtime. I believe we shot 11 for 29 from the free throw line. So, we went through some growing pains, and then we came back and we bounced back, and we played Union and played them really close to the end of the game, had some missed coverages. So we were trying to figure things out with a bunch of young guys, and then we had the 2 returning starters with EJ and Brandon. But then we played Bixby, and we beat Bixby in overtime. So we were feeling really good about ourselves. We went up to Kansas City and played really well. And then the sickness started to hit. It started to infiltrate our team, and it was crazy over the 2 weeks of Christmas where, we were all going down. We lost Jalen. Jalen had COVID and the flu at the same time.
Wow.
So he didn't even get to travel with us down to Mustang. We had several other kids that couldn't practice, and it was just one of those deals where I guess you have to go through it, and after having COVID and experiencing that deal for the last 2 years, not having COVID at all, and then we're supposed to be behind it, and then basically our whole team goes through it for the month of December. It was challenging at times.
So Jalen, you'd had some 20-point games at that stage in the season, but when you go for 37 against a quality, is it 6A or 5A in Kansas? But anyway, 6A, a quality 6A opponent, when you go for 37, did your confidence level change just in that one afternoon, playing that well, being that productive in a big game, away from home even, against a team like that? Did that kind of take you to a different level in your freshman year?
I've always had confidence in myself, but that game definitely helped me out a lot, going through growing pains at the start of the season. But, after going off like that in a game, it kind of gave me another surge of confidence, just believing in myself and believing in the hard work that I put in.
Did you have to be told that you had scored 37 that day, or did somebody kind of whisper it to you maybe during a timeout that you had 30 something and you had a good idea that you had really blown the top off of it?
No, I didn't even realize until after the game. One of my coaches were like, "You ended with 37." I was like, 37? I didn't feel like I scored that much, but it just kind of came to me naturally, and yeah, it was good. It was a good win, a good tournament for us.
So Jalen scored 39 later in a game against Union, which probably was a little more satisfying because all your friends and got to see that one. You know what I mean? I mean, you were here in town, but to score 39, Brian, you tell me Jalen's averaging 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists, but I got to ask you, because this has to be, because it was your most important game of the year against Broken Arrow, undefeated Broken Arrow, a team that you'd had 2 really good games with during the regular season. But Brian, you had a ringside seat on the sideline over there for 2 corner threes that Jalen put up in that second half, contested threes from that left corner right by your bench. So Brian, is it surreal? I've asked you this before. If you're able to separate dad from Owasso head coach, or if there's always kind of that you're both with Jalen all the time. But how does it feel to be standing there and see your son off the catch knock down a couple of threes that helped send you to the state tournament?
It was big time, and I got emotional at the end of the game, not just because of Jalen too, but I had my daughter on the bench. She keeps our books, and then his little brother, our 8-year-old, was sitting at the end of the bench too. So it was to share that experience with him, was awesome. But just watching him grow, I mean, this is the one game where I felt like the dad side of it did come into a little bit of effect on it, because you don't want your kids to fail. They put in a lot of work and things like that, but it was just the emotion of the game. The setting, I thought the atmosphere was unbelievable for a high school game. I pretty much don't think they could have fit another 10 people in the gym. And then the opponent that we're playing, they're 24-0. We've got kind of a rivalry going on between each other. And then watching his game elevate, to that level in that environment with everything on the line to get to state it was awesome, man. From being a coach and being a dad. I told the guys at the end of the game, and I've been around basketball pretty much my whole life, and that was one of the biggest wins that I feel like I've been associated with, and that's coming from a lot, man.
Right. So Jalen, you probably got more media coverage before the start of your season than most kids ever dream about. And I don't know if kids dream about media coverage, but I mean, it is what it is. But did you catch any grief from older guys after the season began about being a 9th grader with all that hype? Or have guys, because all these athletes seem to know each other anyway, you know what I mean? Or is it everybody at the varsity level, for the most part, the competition part of it to the side, but has everybody been pretty cool about the notoriety, that's not the good word, about the attention you've gotten as a 9th grade athlete? Has everybody been pretty cool about it?
My teammates have been pretty cool about it. Not so much the other opponents, but I kind of catch some strays against my opponents. But all my teammates are supportive of me, and they push me to be better, and they enjoy it. They like to see me, strive, and I like to, share that moment with them.
So the biggest, I mean, you went from 8th grade basketball to varsity basketball, which is a quantum leap. Most guys get that JV year or so in between, but what was the physicality or the speed of it the biggest difference?
Yeah,
between what you've experienced? I mean, I know you play a lot of high level summer ball, but with regard to the intensity of varsity basketball versus what you expected it would be? Has it been more the physicality of it or the speed?
Probably more physicality, going up against, 18, 17-year-olds. They're trying to push me around and I'm like 170 pounds. So you're just getting pushed around, coming in this year, playing older guys. But, over the summer, it helped me a lot, playing pickup with the guys from last year, like Caden Fry. They helped me get ready for the summer.
Now, all right, both of you guys, I want to ask you about Brandon Mann, because last night Brian and I were messaging, and he said Brandon is our Draymond Green, and I was like, wow, that's a spot on comparison, because he can go end to end and finish on a speed play, or he can be the most physical guy in the gym. He can guard all 5 positions. He just seems to me to be a massively a very experienced guy, but also a massively versatile guy who can do anything you need in the moment.
Yeah, and we talked about it last summer when we were trying to figure out how we were going to play. We play kind of a 5-out style. We don't have a traditional big, so we play completely different than the way we did the previous year with Caden Fry being our focal point.
Right.
We went into the season and we talked to Brandon. And actually got him with an AAU program that utilized him the same way we were going to utilize him. So it was a good combination. We had to put the ball in his hand. And the thing that I shared with Brandon, that we shared with Brandon as a staff, is like, if he gets defensive rebounds, he's such a weapon in the open floor because he's so strong and he can get to the basket. And then when we can play that style, he's got shooters all around him. So the floor spreads, so with him, we can play 2 different ways. We can put him inside where he's a tough covered. And then we also, can put him on the perimeter where he can get downhill and play. And he's doing a better job of playing off 2 feet, collapsing defenses and finding guys on the perimeter. And he's averaging I think he's averaging 15 and 7 and 4 assists a game. He's the one that, he makes us go. Jalen gets a ton of attention, rightfully so, but Brandon makes us go. We challenged the guys at halftime of the BA game because we got a little stagnant in the second quarter. We talked about a few things. We said, hey, win the 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes coming out of the half, and you're going to do it with your defense. Your defense is going to be your offense, because if you get stops, we're hard to stop in transition because of broken floor situations. And Brandon, I think he rolled off 6 points and then had 3 assists, and we took the lead over within 3 minutes of the second half, and he set the tone.
But if you're going to have 2 ninth graders in the starting lineup with Jalen and Bowden Williams, you have the kind of perfect balance there with EJ Lewis at the point, who started. He must have started close to 100 games for you. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, and then Brandon Mann, who is, he does have one thing in common with Caden Fry. He got the beautiful spin move. I don't know what it is about Owasso guys, but doesn't he? Brandon,
that's our split work, man. That's what we teach. I got to give it up to Coach Peak, our assistant coach. He does a heck of a job with those guys in the post. So and with and I can't say enough about EJ and B. What they've been this year. Anytime you have a team like this where the dynamics are so different as far as age-wise, we play 3 freshmen. We play Cohen Scott. He plays a ton. He plays probably 18 minutes a game now.
Right.
Probably will play over 20 in the state tournament. So when you got a dynamic like that where you're playing with 18-year-olds and you got 15-year-olds, and then you sprinkle in our juniors with Anson Harbaugh, Gage Nantua, Gabe Patterson, it's a crazy different dynamic. Because the freshmen, they get some attention, and the seniors are just everyday guys. They just want to win and get to the state tournament. But with EJ, you look at EJ, he's a 4-year starter. He's a facilitator of our team. He gets the best opponent every night that he's got to guard. B, we ask him to do a ton, not only play defense, but he's got to be sometimes our ball handler and get guys shots and then score also. So
right.
They've all bought into
He'll make a big shot.
Yeah.
Every game he makes a big shot or 2 for you.
Yeah, he does. And the thing is, they've all bought into the way we wanted to play. And I think we play a fun style. You know, we get up and down, but it's all predicated on our defense. You know, if we're playing defense at a high level and rebounding, then it sets the tone for our offense. And then you look at our team too, Bill, we're turning the ball over about 9 times a game, which is phenomenal. You know, that's phenomenal, especially when you're thinking about the youth that we have on the court. We don't turn it over a lot. You know, you don't turn it over a lot. You play defense. You take high percentage shots, and you're going to be in a lot of ball games and have the chance to beat people you shouldn't beat, probably.
Right. So, Jalen, give me I should have mentioned this by now, but Owasso plays 4:30 Thursday at the Lloyd Noble in Norman. Don't get me started on that. I just do not enjoy that gym, but that's where the OSSAA decided to set up camp for a couple of years. So here we go. But have you played in there, by the way, Jalen? Have you ever shot a basketball in the Lloyd Noble?
No,
I don't think it's a bad place to shoot. I mean, Brian played there. I mean,
we've had a lot of success down there.
that's right. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad place to play. It's just not a great place as for spectators. And I don't think it's a great place for that matter with regard to locker rooms and whatnot. But with regard to playing the game, I think you'll be fine. But you play Deer Creek at 4:30 Thursday. Jalen, give me a 3 or 4 sentence scouting report on Deer Creek, who I know nothing about.
They're young. We've had a lot of people on social media have said that, you know, this is going to be a matchup for the future down the line. But, you know, we're just going to go into Thursday, pride ourselves what we've been priding ourselves on, you know, all season, playing defense, playing with a chip on our shoulder, playing with pride. You know, if we do all those things and you stay together, I think we have a good shot of, you know, moving on to Friday.
The well, you would face the winner if Owasso advances. They face Norman or Broken Arrow Friday at 6. So there's the possibility that on Friday you would have a rematch with BA. But that game at Sepulpa the other night, Friday night, was as electrifying, as intense. And I don't know if you noticed, Brian, but even the concourse area, that kind of rings the upper level, you couldn't even walk through there because the game 2 people were showing up at about halftime, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it was like every fire code was broken that night. Oh, no question. I don't know what capacity is, but it was like double the capacity in there. But with regard to having young guys grow up, when you look back on their careers someday, that's going to be a big time building block game, I think, for Jalen and the rest of your program.
I agree. Totally agree. And that's why, you know, we brought up, you know, the emotions at the end of the game. And that was probably my love for these guys. They'll go down as one of my favorite teams to coach. And it's not just because Jalen's on the team, but it's because of the adversity that they faced at the beginning of the year. It's because of the pressure. I mean, you know, a lot of people thought I was crazy for playing the young guys, but they've deserved it. I mean, they can play. They show they can play. You know, and then, you know, I mean, you feel the pressure for your kid and these guys to step up on the biggest stage and perform. But it got back to what they do every day. They work every day. They work extremely hard. You know, I tell Jalen this all the time. If I worked as hard as him, you know, my high school years and through college, I'd probably be in the Bahamas somewhere on a big old yacht hanging out. But they've worked hard. They really have, and they've stayed together, and they're competitive. They're so competitive. I love the reaction that, especially from Jalen after the free throw that he missed to put us up 4, and BA had a chance to take the lead and win the game in regulation. There was no stepping back. There was no hesitation. You know, he told me going into overtime, he wanted the ball. You know, he had to make plays. And that's just the confidence level that these guys, not only him, but it's the whole team that they carry themselves with. Just love being around them. You know, they've taken me on a heck of a ride this year just with, you know, their work ethic and how hard they've competed.
So, Jalen, when is your, I mean, not exact birthday, but you turn 16 in the spring?
May 7th.
Right. When is it?
May 7th.
have you already, let's see, I don't remember exactly when that all starts, but are you like getting driver's ed training now?
We are.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
He dinged his mom's brand new car up the other day in the parking lot,
Oh.
not paying attention. So there's there's a few things he's really good at. Video games, he's an excellent student, heck of a basketball player, but we've got to his driving skills are another thing.
Oh my gosh. You say dinged. Are you being literal? It was like a ding?
Yeah, I
Or
mean he hit a sign, a little parking sign. Put a good old dent in his mom's brand new car. Yeah.
So have you picked out what you want to drive, Jalen? Because it's such a big decision.
I'm just gonna be grateful for whatever they get me.
It's good.
I told my dad I don't want a nice car.
He might get you like a bumper car.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. We're gonna spend some time
wrapped around it.
Yeah, after the season, we're gonna spend some time out in the country working on driving.
When's the last time Jalen, by the way, is a legit 6'7" at the age of 15. Brian himself 6'10". So when's the last time you actually like did combine type measurements on this guy?
It was USA basketball camp in October that we did it last time. So I think he grew a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where he's at. And the thing is too is we don't know where he's going to end up, but like I was pretty much the same size as him my freshman year of high school, and then I grew through the course of my career, and actually grew an inch at OSU when I got there. And when I got there I was 6'9", and then grew another inch my first year.
So I mean, Jalen, you had the offer from Oklahoma State, and if I don't ask about recruiting, then this is a fail. I've got to ask about it. So what about like more recent movement in that regard, or whether be it an offer or just dialogue with schools that may have kind of come out of nowhere in the last few weeks or so? What's going on with that?
Nebraska's recently reached out. Michigan has reached out. Arkansas. And then obviously I got the offer from Tulsa, and then ORU has reached out. And OU has reached out as well.
At 15, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was Kansas. Coach Self has called also about him. So
yeah, that's the nature of it. I mean, it's Brian, when did you first get phone calls regarding recruiting? I mean, at what point in your high school career?
It was probably after my sophomore year.
Right.
Into my sophomore year, going into that summer. It's a lot different now, though. I mean, versus back then in the dinosaur years, right? Everything, they have social media, they're playing more, they play a lot more. When I was playing, there was one AAU team in the state of Michigan, so you had to be really, really good to be on that team.
Oh.
And then we'd play, I think with Team Michigan, I think we only played 3 weekends. So these guys get a lot more exposure. I remember last summer, Coach Cal and Coach Boynton, Coach Mosier, there were several coaches at their game and one of their AAU games. So they're getting seen a lot earlier, and that's just because of the world we live in, the environment we live in with social media, and everybody's got videos and all that stuff.
Well, I need to hush so you guys can go practice, because I'm losing track of time here. But like I said, Owasso versus Deer Creek, Thursday, 4:30. That game is followed by Norman Broken Arrow at 6. And those two winners are matched Friday at 6. And Owasso's got a hot team. That I remember vividly that interview I did with you, Brian, when y'all were 3 and 6. And I remember looking at your schedule while we talked, and I said, you have a chance to kind of start stacking some wins here and get hot. And you said, if we get fortunate or stay fortunate with our healthy guys, maybe. You said maybe. And now you're 14 and 2 since that phone call.
Yeah.
So
crazy. And the thing, think about it, Bill. Think about this, right? We start the way we started. This speaks to the resiliency of the kids, right? We start the way we started. We have a horrible tournament down at Mustang where, we played PC North and they beat us by 30. It wasn't our team. We obviously had some sickness going on and stuff, but still, when you lose like that, And then you come back and you play a sophomore team and you struggle to shoot. I mean, we couldn't make a shot. We couldn't make a shot. And then we get to Pensacola. They're a tough 2A team, and we end up beating them. And then, we go on this run, and we're just stacking wins, and the more, we just talked about just keeping one game at a time and taking care of business. And then the Booker T deal come up with the weather, and we wanted to play them, and we were trying to figure out a way if we could backdoor and get in the host, and we weren't able to play that game. And then the OSSA rankings come out, and we're ranked 4, and we were hoping to be 6, and then we're 4, and we're elated, and we're talking to the kids about how proud we are of them, and their hard work. They got the host, and 2 days later we're getting ready for the Union game. An hour before the game, we found out that they switched the rankings back because of some miscalculation, right? They just switched it, which I've been around. I've talked to everybody pretty much in high school basketball in the state of Oklahoma that they've never seen anything like that happen before, right? So they switch it. So we're getting ready to play Union, and our kids go from this high to being like, what the heck's going on, coach? Why are we not hosted now? And then they come out and they play unbelievable against Union, and we've kept it going. I mean, it's
was that the 39 point?
Yeah, that was the night that he had 39. But I just looked at it and I'm like, man, these guys are, so we talked about, hey, there's nothing we can do. We can only control the controllables. So we've got to do it the hard way, so we had to go to Booker T and play Bartlesville, which is not a 12 seed. I mean, with David Castile, I still don't understand how they were ranked that low, especially with the schedule that they played. So us coaches, we were a little nervous with that game because we knew Dave wasn't going to go out easy. And then you turn around and you play Booker T at home on their home court. So just for us to get through the regional and then, play the area and play the way our kids played was phenomenal. And that just shows the toughness and the character that they have and how much they've grown up over the course of the year.
So there was the expectation, I think, about mid-season that the west side of the state would dominate, the postseason, but like you messaged, I was sending you updates Saturday from the consolation game, and you got kind of fired up about how the Tulsa area schools stepped up with Booker T beating PC West.
Yes.
And with Broken Arrow beating what I thought was a really dangerous PC North team because of the way they defend. In fact, it took BA a quarter to kind of get used to the ferocity of it, So I think it's going to be a heck of a this is a heck of a bracket, heck of a 6A tournament, and you going in there with is Bowdoin 15 also?
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Two 15-year-old starters. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, y'all go practice. I very much appreciate your time here, and I will see you guys in Norman. Jalen, great rookie season, man. Thank you. All right, see you, Brian.
Appreciate you, Bill. Appreciate you, Brian.
All right.